everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those that don't know me, my name is Chi. This channel covers all things finance related with some lifestyle and YouTube tips thrown in for good measure. Today's video is going to be about one of my favorite topics in finance, and the great Albert Einstein once reportedly referred to this topic as the eighth wonder of the world, and he also reportedly said that he that doesn't understand it pays it, and he that does earns it. Today's topic is going to be about compound interest and the powerful phenomenon that it is. This is a very important topic because it can help you manage your money more efficiently. It can help you make your money work harder for you and enable you to be able to plan for your future in the most efficient way. So if this sounds of interest to you, stay tuned. Let's get into it. In today's video, I'm going to cover three things: what compound interest is, how compound interest works, and why we need compound interest. The topic of interest isn't always the easiest subject, but as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't need to be difficult to understand. Before we move on to compound interest, it's really important that we have a look at what simple interest is. Interest in general is typically paid by an organization, a bank, for example, and it's a reward for keeping your money with them. A very simple example, supposing you have £1,000 in a bank account and you've got an 8% simple interest rate, then at the end of the year you would have £80, assuming you didn't take any of that money out. Now that's the biggest difference between simple interest and compound interest, because simple interest rewards you or pays interest on your principal amount. So you deposit £1,000 in your account, you would get paid an interest rate every year based on that initial amount of £1,000. So it's only based on the principal. Now with compound interest, the beauty of compound interest is that you are able to earn interest upon interest. So compound interest is defined as interest paid not only on the principal but also on accrued interest, and this is where compound interest can explode in an exponential fashion over time. Compound interest is one of the most important and basic principles of finance that everybody needs to know about, and the reasons for this is because it enables you to be able to manage your money in the most efficient way. And if you're thinking of planning for the future, then what better way to approach this than knowing the best way to make your money grow as efficiently as possible? Because the sooner you get started, it works best with time. It tends to explode in an exponential fashion and create a snowball effect. It doesn't grow in a linear fashion, and therefore the sooner you get started, the sooner you understand the basic principles, the more you are in a position of power in order to be able to take control of your finances and plan for your future. I'm sure you're thinking that this sounds fantastic, but you probably want to see an example, so let's do that. So let's go through two examples where we compare simple interest versus compound interest. So let's take an example where you invest £5,000 in an account paying 8% per annum, and you do this over 20 years. Each year in a simple interest account, you are going to receive £400 in interest. That's year 1 to year 20. The amount will not change. So that means at the end of the 20-year period, you would have earned £8,000 in interest. The total value of what will be in your account will be £13,000. So that will be £5,000 of your initial amount deposited plus the £8,000 in interest that you've earned over that 20-year period. Now, when we take a look at the example for compound interest, we can see that initially there isn't much difference between the account paying a simple interest and the account paying compound interest. So in the first year you'll get exactly the same amount, and then in the second year the amount goes up to £432 as opposed to £400 for the simple interest example, and then in the third year it goes up to £466.56. But then you can see in year 20, rather than just earning £400, you are now earning £1,726.28. But more importantly, the total interest that you would have earned is £18,304.79, and this is a difference of over £5,000 within a 20-year period. This is a very simple example, only looking at £5,000 to start off with over a 20-year period. So you can imagine that if you were dealing with a longer time period or with a higher cash amount, that the difference would be much more significant. So this is where compound interest really starts to show that snowball effect and why it's so powerful, because given time, and that's the key thing, it works really well with time. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't really understand compound interest. What they struggle with is seeing what something can be worth in 20 years time. Some people get bored with it, some people can't afford to stick with it. but it's something really worth understanding, because if you've got that in your arsenal of tools, it can be super, super powerful. I hope this simple example has now shown you the power of compound interest and why it's definitely an avenue worth pursuing in your personal finances. Let's take another example, but make it a little bit more exciting. Let's suppose that we've got a lady called Sharon. She doesn't have a lot of money at the moment, so she's starting with zero, but she has committed to investing £300 in an index fund that pays 9% per annum over the next 40 years. So that's her commitment. If she sticks to the plan and she is consistent, then she would have invested over that 40-year period £144,000. So you can be assured that after a 40-year period, her investment is going to be worth a lot more than £144,000. But you may be wondering exactly how much it would be worth. Let me put you out of your misery. Her total investment of £144,000, because that's the amount that she has paid in, will now be worth over £1.27 million. And that is primarily due to the exponential impact of compound interest. Let's now look at the impact of time on compound interest. So let's take Sharon again, and let's say rather than starting when she's 20, she now decides to start when she's 30. So let's just say she started whatever age, but let's just say it's 10 years later. So now she still invests £300 a month in the same fund, paying 9% on a compound basis. Instead of investing over a 40-year period, she's now investing over a 30-year period. So she will only have invested, I say only, but it's not a small amount, £108,000 over that period. Now you may be wondering, how much would that £108,000 be worth after a 30-year period as opposed to a 40-year period using compound interest? And it would now be worth just over £500,000. So you see that a difference of 10 years results in a low amount being earned of over £700,000. If you are young, get started, because you have a huge advantage. You've got time on your side. If you're a bit older, just get started, because the sooner you get started, the more you can start to reap the benefits of compound interest. Now you may be wondering, Chi, well, how do I actually go about earning compound interest? And that, if you are wondering, that is an excellent question. And the reason I say that is because today interest rates are hitting all-time lows. If you're trying to look for a savings account with a reasonable interest rate paying compound interest, you'd be looking far and wide to find that. So finding a bank account that pays a good interest rate at this point in time is nigh on impossible. The best way to earn compound interest, as far as I'm concerned, is to look at investing in the stock market. Now, looking at some sort of tracker fund, if you're in the UK, that could be one tracking the FTSE 100. If you're in the US, or even if you're in the UK, you can still invest in stocks overseas. For example, the S&P, which tracks the top 500 companies in the US, and the FTSE 100 tracks the top 100 companies in the UK. And the thing about investing is it's not actually so much about how much money that you have or you put away. It's actually just getting started, and it's being consistent and diligent and forming good money saving habits. If you can get to a point where you're consistently putting away a sum of money each month, that is a great place to start. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you found it useful and interesting. If you have, give me a thumbs up, because one, that helps me grow my channel. It also lets me know that you're interested in this type of content and you want me to carry on. Do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to receive my content on a weekly basis. And leave me a comment. Do you have any thoughts about compound interest? Are you planning to start investing? Thank you very much, and take care for now. Goodbye. Oh, how am I going to explain the beauty of compound interest? How do I do it? I'm going to do it in a very simple way.